Okay, so here we are for geometry. If you guys, so I sent out an email and posted on the learning resources folder the grade improvement packet. So basically, if you read that, it explains it. But basically, what happens is you have two chances to improve your grade by a total of 20%. So each one of the packets is approximately 10 hours of work. It is not going to, it's a pass fail. So you do the work, you show all your work. It is very clear. You just put in answers there, you copy answers off someone, and you will not get the credit. You have until May 4th to turn it in. You do all the work, every single problem, show all your work, and you can get a 10% bump on your grade. For those of you who are fine with your grade, you're actually good. I would recommend, again, everyone at least watch these Zoom lessons, if not actually apply, or not apply, but show up, because it's a good thing. Learning's good. So what we're going to do is we are going to, today we're going to go over the Pythagorean theorem. This is kind of where we left off. I'm going to push it a little bit further. So the Pythagorean theorem, in essence, has a lot of you guys are used to, oh, right, I'm not used to this, to it being a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, if I were to modify that, so it's important that you know how each one of these work. If I were to use this to solve for a missing side, I'd end up with three separate equations. And those would be, so when we're doing this, this is a leg, this is a leg, and this is the hypotenuse. So when we have okay, I'm not really sure what's going on here. So I'm going to go back. Okay. And all hell broke loose, so I'm just going to kind of freehand the right triangle. So this is a right triangle, isn't it awesome? Best right triangle ever. So this would be A, this would be B, and this would be C. Now it looks like I drew some weird house with a chimney. Okay. So leg, leg, and a hypotenuse. Now if I'm solving for each one, the hypotenuse becomes, to solve for the hypotenuse, I get C equals, and remember that the way we get rid of squares is we square root. So we would end up with the square root of A squared plus B squared. For A, we end up with, because we first have to subtract B squared from both sides and then square root, so we get C squared minus 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 c squared minus b squared, and then b equals the square root of c squared minus a squared. So that is the Pythagorean theorem in all its glory. So when we're looking to solve for a certain leg, and we'll get to some mock problems in just a little bit, those are the three equations that we're going to use. So it's important that you have those three equations written down. Okay. So make sure that you guys are taking notes on this, and make sure that you guys are actively sitting there and engaging on this and doing what you're supposed to be doing, and not just like passing time. Okay. So we're going to clear all that. So there is then something, and I'm not going to try and write this out because it would take forever, but Pythagorean triplets. Pythagorean triplets are those three numbers which make a right triangle. So kind of the basic one that we talk about a lot is 3, 4, and 5. And so when we have three numbers, we know the longest side has to be the hypotenuse, and we know the two shorter sides have to be the legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. So notice that this becomes true, because then we have 9 plus 16 equals 25. So normally you'd sit there and go, okay, well, so this is true, 9 plus 16 is 25. Other ones, you can also do these times 2, so like 6, 8, and 10 work, 9, 12, and 15 work, 30, 40, and 50 work. Other sets that you see a lot of are 5, 12, and 13. So then 10, 24, 30, 26, things like that. Those all work as well. So what's important is identifying the three numbers, realizing that if the square of the two smaller ones is equal to the square of the longest one, then it does form a right triangle. But what if they don't equal each other? What if there are problems that don't work? What use then is the Pythagorean theorem other than showing us that it's not a right triangle? So let's look at, let's say we have a triangle and we see that the sides are 3, 5, and 9. So what we do is we go, okay, how does 3 squared plus 5 squared, how does that relate to 9 squared? So this would end up being 9 plus 25 and seeing how that relates to 81. So notice here that 9 plus 25 is less than 81. So this would actually, so we actually can use that information. This means So that would be an acute triangle. So this leads us to the three final rules when it comes to the Pythagorean theorem. If a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, it's a right triangle. If a squared plus, sorry this takes so long, guys. If it is less than c squared, then it is acute. And if a squared plus b squared, straight lines for some reason are a real pain with the interface. If it's greater than c squared, then it is obtuse. You know what? I'm wrong. I got these backwards. So if you've got a really long hypotenuse compared to short legs, it's going to be, okay. Obtuse. And if you have long legs and a short hypotenuse, sounds like some weird body type thing, then it's acute. Okay, so hold on just a second. Okay, so now we're back, and we've got this worksheet in front of it that'll be posted on the Google Classroom basically as soon as we're done here. So we have this triangle, and we're missing sides. So the first couple just need to figure out how to go about finding the sides. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we are, hold on just a second. Let me put the annotation notes up. There we go. Okay. So now it really doesn't matter which one you pick as the legs. So A and B can be switched. You need to make sure that the hypotenuse is C. So here I'm going to go, this is A and this is B. So we're looking for A. So if we look at what our notes were previously, we know that A is equal to the square root of C squared minus B squared. Rama want to come in? Hey, Rama. It's my puppy. Hey, puppy. Hey, Rama. Hey, Rama. Okay. See, if you were actually like here and doing it, I'd show you my puppy. But it's for live audiences only. So we know that x then equals the square root of 3 squared minus, and then we have 2 radical 2 squared. So x equals the square root of 9 minus, and then 2 radical 2 squared. We have 2 times 2, which is 4. And then the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is actually just 2. So this becomes 8. So x equals the square root of 1, or x equals 1. Okay. So over here, so let's say that was B. So this would be C. This would be, this is A. This is B. So we use B equals the square root of C squared minus A squared. Or here, x equals the square root of 12 squared minus 11 squared. So that's going to give us the square root of 100 144 minus 121, or the square root of 23. And 23 is a prime number, so there's no reducing that. So that's our answer. Okay, so that's how the first couple work. So let's clear everything. Stop trying. Oh, I have to go mouse. So you got about 10 of those. These ones, we want to see if it's acute, obtuse, or right. So there you just need to see whether or not, I gave you those 3 equations. So if like 8 squared, 64, plus square root of 187, squared 187, so you have 64 plus 187, which would give you 240, 51. Then 16 squared is, if it's 256. So 251 is less than 256. So that would be obtuse. Might want to check my math on that. But that's the general idea. So if they're equal to each other, it's a right triangle. If the hypotenuse is bigger, the square of the hypotenuse is bigger than the square of, where's my key cat? See, it's my kitty cat. Well, one of them. That's rarity. If it is bigger than the, if the hypotenuse is bigger, it's obtuse. If the square of the hypotenuse is smaller than the square of the legs, it's acute. Okay. And that's it for now. So, yeah. If you have any questions or anything like that, let me know. Other than that, I will post stuff on the. I might do a video on the actual worksheet later in the week. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys are able to watch and get something out of this and download the assignment and get it done. Again, not graded, but it is important that you guys keep your mind sharp, keep using your minds, that you don't just kind of sit there and view this, everything that's happening with the quarantine and the shelter in place and the social distancing, view that as some ersatz 4-month vacation. You guys are still students, you guys still need to be learning, and thanks for watching.